So we're going to. Walk around.
Yeah.
Gonna walk across the street behind your mother.
Oh, next time.
Can I just touch the board from the other side?
I think so.
Like if I go here,
I mean,
oh, right, so.
Everybody goes up to the.
Oh. Okay, if you'd like to do it that way.
That's fine.
Okay.
It may be easier than
Well, we have a,
me using that,
right, okay.
just because.
Just because. Lacey, I think that's a good thing. Oh,
Oh,
here we go.
Oh, okay. All right.
You gotta send it to Joey.
Yeah.
The,
It was gonna be a group, but maybe people got busy.
All your neighbors show up?
Yeah, well,
Our neighbors?
Our neighbors.
yes.
Our neighbors.
So I told Steve and Becky about it. like-
Oh, Steve and Becky knew about it because my mother was. Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're here.
She's not here, so.
Yeah.
She's my biggest fan.
What?
Okay, all set? I'll just kick us off.
Yeah, there's a couple people walking in, cars, but. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, I see. Hey, Joe. Sit right here. Well, I got three, so yeah. Yeah, he just took a selfie with us.
We reserved tomorrow.
Hey, I'm gonna. So Eric, this is Joe. Hi. She'll be there at the dinner. Yeah, us two are. I started to know before I went to church. I forgot how much. Longer than you now.
Oh, yeah.
How are you? Good. And good for I ran from one meeting to the next, so I'm a little.
No, you don't. You go there.
I do have, yeah.
Yeah. You have the 10-year one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I.
What is like? That's good. That's great.
Yeah, so. I wanted to be there to make sure we did with all the times. So.
Hello. How are you? Thank you very much for, coming. My name is John Klimzak, and I'm the hybrid program administrator here at the Council on Aging. And we're pleased to have our Eastham focus session, on, the Eastham Fire Department, with Fire Chief Lisa Albino and Deputy Fire Chief Eric Littman. And we'll discuss fire department services and priorities for 2025. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. For those of you, I see some very familiar faces. For those of you who don't know me, I am Lisa Albino. I am the fire chief, here in Eastham. And to my right here is, Deputy Fire Chief Eric Lippman. Eric is, I'm gonna let him give a little introduction in a second, but, for those of you who don't know me, I was promoted in September of this year, or at 24, from the deputy chief's position to the chief of department. I have been with the department for 39 years. I am the only person in the department to hold every single rank, within the department. I started out as a call firefighter in 1986 when I was in nursing school at Four Seas. I graduated from Four Seas in '87 with my RN and decided 2 days after that I was gonna work for the fire department.
Well done.
I thought I would be there for 5 years and here I am, I'm still there. So I rose up through the ranks, took me a while, but, I did finally achieve that. For those of you who don't know, I am the first female fire chief on Cape Cod. Took a while to get there, but I got there. There are only 8 female fire chiefs in the state of Massachusetts out of 351.
You know where they are.
I know where some of them are. Plimpton, Acton, Sutton, I think, but more out on the western part of the state. So I grew up here in Eastham. I went to Nauset, I graduated. I actually went Eastham Elementary, middle school, high school, graduated way back when. And I live here in town. I think it's important that the fire chiefs, live in town in case I have to come out for any emergencies. I still respond to, a lot of the major incidents, if I'm here and I'm in town. That's part of my responsibility and the responsibility, of the chief to make sure that, all the personnel are responding, taking care of the incident. But I will, you'll frequently see both the deputy and I, on the road at incidents. It's important that they have an extra set of hands. We respond to a variety of calls and we're gonna go through that, but I want, the deputy to introduce himself so that you guys all know him in case he happens to show up.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eric Lippman. I am proud to say that I'm the deputy fire chief in Eastham. My career couldn't have taken a more opposite path than Chief Albino's. I started my career in Katuitt in 1994, but prior to that is when I first encountered Chief Albino. She was one of my instructors at Cape Cod Community College Paramedic School where I attended in 1992. So I served for the Katuitt Fire Department until 1998 and then pursued a career for a big city fire department and traveled with my wife. I'm now over 30 years and closer to 35. And our 2 small children in Las Vegas, where I served a fire career there as a firefighter paramedic, fire captain, fire training captain, and finished my career also as the union president of the 700 member local after 21 years. I served through to 2018 and then made the decision to come home to the Boston area where I was born, raised in Newton, and worked for Medfield just as the supplement. Not, everybody but me thought I was gonna go and get promoted further. And, but I did get promoted in Medfield as a captain. I served there for 5 years. And then, I was lucky enough to encounter Chief Albino when I was made the, director of the Massachusetts Firefighting Academy. Chief Albino had let me know that there was probably gonna be a deputy position open for an open challenge for anybody to apply. My wife and I always had a dream to come back to the Cape, and finish out here. And so, I applied in a competitive process and ultimately was selected. And then we immediately, within 3 months, bought a house, in Eastham, right off of, right in Governor Prince, on the west side of Governor Prince. So I'm super proud to be here. This is last stop. So and I've been told that by the boss. So yeah, just super happy to be here. Thank you.
And my husband has told me that this is my last stop and, we're not going anywhere and we're looking at 3 to 4 years, for me, before I retire.
Excuse me, boss.
So I kind of left this open. What I have here is just it's more pictures of things that we do, at the department. We have, you guys are all lucky enough that you have a career fire department that is also, we have 20 members that are firefighters and either EMTs or paramedics, so we all have to be cross-trained. So you have to be able to work in the back of the ambulance, or you need to be able to work on the fire truck, depending on which call comes in first. So everybody is cross-trained, including the deputy and I. We are both paramedics. We set our structure within the department. We have 4 groups of personnel. There are 5 people per group. So they rotate on a 24-hour schedule. So there's always either 4 on duty or 5 on duty, depending on if someone's on vacation, sick. But we maintain in the winter months, we maintain a shift level of 4. In the summertime, we maintain a shift level of 5. That's so that we can get both the ambulance and the engine out at the same time. And they have to have a certain number of people on each piece to basically be safe on the scene.
Yeah, there are certain standards that we try to uphold that are set by a national agency, the National Fire Protection Association. So, their standard is 4 personnel on, it was optimal, on engine, and obviously at least 2 on an ambulance. So, the chief's done, a great job trying to increase that staffing level, because we always try to say, think about it when you've ever been in an emergency room or even watch TV, you see how many people are in one room for a cardiac event. That shouldn't be any different pre-hospital, because we need the resources to be able to be efficient and effective in our treatment of patients. And so that's really a lot of the driving force for the personnel that we want, and that increase in personnel, which is also a recommended standard.
And like I said, with that, everybody is cross-trained. Right now, we have 3 of our new members that we just hired this past fall. They are actually away at fire recruit school. So we lost them for 10 weeks, but we're gonna be happy because we get them back first.
They're not like away, they're in Bridgewater.
They're in Bridgewater.
They didn't say
They're not
the chief.
fun, right.
But they're not doing shit.
Yeah, so there is a campus in Bridgewater. So the State Fire Academy has 3 campuses. They have 1 in Bridgewater, 1 in Stowe, and then 1 in Springfield. So we make every effort to send them to Bridgewater, because they actually stay up there for the week. And then they'll come home for the weekend. and then get ready for the next week, but
Did you say 10 weeks?
it's a 10-week program.
So they
That's
have to
actually
get
what-
hired by a town first?
It's
Or
actually.
by any town before they're allowed to go to the academy?
Yep.
Yeah, because they have to receive once again, standard skills that are set by governing agencies, that they must have what they call firefighter 1, firefighter 2 certification, which basically just provides them the knowledge, skills, and abilities to enter an environment that's immediately dangerous to life and health under direct supervision. Their company officer, their lieutenant, their captain, or the chief and I. They have to have that for the chief to be able to feel confident enough to put them on an engine or, or a truck company, a ladder company, so that they could go ahead and perform operations.
Now, we did hire them before they had this training. They were always on the ambulance.
Okay.
So, because they are EMTs or paramedics, so they would respond on the ambulance, they would be part of the staffing for the ambulance until they went to recruit school. So when they come back, now they'll be able to, will be trained to that firefighter 1, 2 level, and they'll be able to function on the fire engine.
Because the fire service has evolved to the point where we're now an all hazards, multi-role firefighter, right? So when people don't know what to do, they call us, right? So we have to be everything from an electrician to a plumber to, and that's the reality, right? That's what we get called for, not just the fires in the severe, medical calls or any medical call, right? We're getting called, even when I keep both hands on it, even when the police don't know what to do, they call us. Right? I always give them a hard time, they give us a hard time, right? But, and that's the reality, part of what we do is social work. When we're, for instance, we're responding on, maybe an elderly person that's having difficulties with cognitive, behavior, that we're going there time and time again, right? We have to start entering into those conversations of, you can't keep doing this, right? That's too much for any family member. If any of you have been affected by anything from Alzheimer's dementia, I have, my family has, right? So just think about that's all the different roles that we have to fill. We're the bridge sometimes for that.
We're the safety net.
Yeah.
I really consider us a safety net
And we
for
love doing it.
our residents. I especially love doing it. I mean, I've been here this long, so I love my job. I will tell any one of, my new employees that it is the best job in the world to work for the fire department. It is absolutely.
It is. You're the
Well, we
reason
have
why
been-
so many people
we have-
stay in their homes as long as they
Yep.
can.
Yep,
Right.
and we,
Exactly.
True.
this past year, I just ran the run numbers. We did about 2,300 calls. And that's a combination of fire calls, from anything from someone's alarms going off, and they don't know why in the middle of the night, to structure fires, to gas leaks, to medical calls, motor vehicle crashes. As Debbie said, we kind of do it all.
All hazards.
It's all hazards, and I'll show you some pictures here, some of the,
It's kind of perfect. Got it. Hit the focus, and the screen.
this was working.
Well, we just had a structure fire, a couple of weeks ago. Our crew, I was first on scene and then the chief took command after, I took command. Because there's a command structure, that's really, it's just the chief and I. But our crews did an amazing job. They stopped it at the garage, saved the entire house. And they just couldn't have done a better job.
And they did a top-notch job, but what helped us, the hydrant system, the town water system, I could not tell you how valuable it was.
We would have saved that house.
Because the first engine that showed up only had 1,000 gallons of water, and they were able to hook up to the hydrant. We didn't have to get tanker shuttles in, lose water. We had constant water, and it is it is my opinion, that's the only reason why that house was saved.
Sounds documentary.
Yes,
How
So
much
this-
wa- How much water did you use? You say 1,000 you had on the truck.
we had 1,000 gallons on the water, on the truck, I think we used about 10,000 gallons.
Yeah, I would say that, because then once, we can't necessarily, unless we're specifically looking for it, we can't gauge how much we've actually flowed once we tie into the hydrant.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, the garage and the area above the garage was fully involved, right? That's our job, that when we arrive, we have to make that risk benefit analysis. What, in that risk management profile, where are we gonna stop it at this point? That was already lost. But then once we cut it off, then that's where a lot of the water went. Cause then you also had two vehicles inside the garage that were 3/4 filled of gas. So we had to flow a lot of water.
So one of the things that I'd like to talk about is early notification. Early notification of an incident that's going on, possibly a structure fire. The way that you would be notified of something going on in your house is a smoke detector or a CO detector, and/or a CO detector. When these go off, they go off for a reason. A lot of people have some nuisance. They go off sometimes in the summertime. We're going into that season where everybody's gonna be dusting their homes. Dust gets in here, it actually will activate the alarm. Spiders will activate the alarm.
2 o'clock. Cooking.
2 o'clock in the morning, when I'm not home, my husband has to go. So I cannot, this is stress this enough. You need to have working smoke and CO detectors in your home.
I just was in a house just today, that they were the originals, I could tell, I walked in, I saw the color. You know what I'm talking about? They're like a deep shade of brown, I'm like, okay, those aren't any good.
They're good for, the manufacturers will tell you they're good for 10 years. When we see them that are up, they've been the original and the house has been up for 30 years. You just don't know if you're gonna be notified of an incident. So then you have an incident going on in your home. You need 911, you need to call 911. With that, you also, this is also another great time of year that everybody's doing renovations, everybody's painting. They're fixing up the outsides of the house. Please help us help you by having your house numbers visible. It is absolutely imperative that your house numbers are visible from the road.
That was like the chief's biggest pet peeve when I first got here, because I'm also a fire prevention officer. She hammered, because the chief knows, because she served everywhere, there is nothing. I can tell you, there is nothing more stressful for us when we're on a unit, somebody's having a cardiac event, somebody's having a respiratory event, or a fire. Fire, you're gonna see if there's a fire, right? But if we can't find the house, there is nothing that creates more anxiety for all of us on that unit.
Well, there's no streetlights here either.
Correct.
Which makes it really tough.
But if we know there are. Everybody puts their house numbers on the front of the house, right? If you can see it from the road, we have lights that we can see it. Now, if it's not contrasting colors to your trim, the boards around the house, the gutters, things like that, we can't see it. So brass numbers, although they look nice, on brown trim, we're not gonna see it at night. And if we can't see it from the road, we may go right by you. Okay, GPS is good, but sometimes it's not accurate all the time. So they should really be 4 inches in height, contrasting colors to what your trim is. And then if you can't see them from the road, we suggest having a post outside at the end of your driveway. Now, a lot of people will say, it's on the mailbox. I get it, it's on the mailbox, but in the town of Eastham, your mailbox may be on the opposite side of the road. Okay,
Well,
so
lined up with 5 others.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
So-
clear.
Yeah,
we do have.
right
we
by
do-
your house.
We do recommend a post with a number at the end of your driveway.
If you can't.
If you can't see it,
If you can't
just
see
walk
your
by your
house,
house, just like the chief said, just walk by your house. If you can see it from the road,
or the next time you come down.
and it's
down the road.
contrasting color, great. Like, just think to yourself, if an ambulance was gonna show up, could they see it easily?
Like that 95 right there.
Right there,
Perfect.
yep.
Is that brown?
It is.
Yeah, but it's on,
But it's on brown.
Dark brown.
It's on dark brown. There's some that I will tell you, it's really hard to see. And think about us responding to you in a blinding snowstorm. We do have those, and I see it. And I see where Ken Cruz see your house number as they're coming down the road. They want to get to you as quickly as possible and help mitigate whatever's going on. Okay? If you have any questions about your house numbers, you can always call, and one of us will come out. We can either help you, maybe figure out a better location. There's been times where I've had, people put them on the corner boards, because that's what we see coming down the road. So they shouldn't be on a door, so in the springtime, everybody opens up their door and you don't see the number. They have to be permanently affixed to the home, either on a pole, on the trim, on a corner board. It's really kind of my mantra, shall I say, help us help you. And if we can't get to you or find you, we can't help you. And there's the anxiety and the stress that we go through if we can't find you is above all. Because we want to be able to help you, and if we can't find you, it makes it very difficult. We do have, one of my lieutenants goes out and, I think maybe some of you guys know her, Rachel. So Rachel does a lot of our, public education. She will also go into homes and help seniors with fall and trip prevention and give you some, assistance with that, some helpful hints. She'll help with if you need, smoke detectors. We do have some loaners at the station. She'll go over them, the workings of them. She'll also help with house numbers, and if you need a post, we do have reflective posts and numbers that we will help, citizens in the town of Eastham with.
So you can purchase them from you.
We don't sell them, so, but we will come and put one out for you. She has, it's like a signboard, like your signs that are reflective. She has the numbers on it, green post. We make sure that we call dig safe, even though it's not going down into the ground very far, but we will assist, homeowners with that. So some of the other things, this is the new, ladder truck that we have. It's been in service about 2 years. The picture on the top right was from, a car crash that we needed med flight, to come and take the patient to Boston for their injuries that they had. Cape Cod Hospital is not a trauma, they're a level 3 trauma center now, but they can't handle what we would consider a high priority trauma that they need to be in Boston with surgeons. So we will call the helicopter in, the paramedics will do that right from the field. They'll land either behind the station on the field, or they'll meet them in Hyannis. So a lot of times they'll meet them in Hyannis at the airport, because we want to start heading towards the hospital. If something changes and the helicopter doesn't land, at least we have the hospital right there. So So, what else we got here? This again was no structure fire. To the right is training. We were doing ice training. No safe ice. In the wintertime, the only safe ice is,
Got a hockey rink.
there we go. Okay. I cannot tell you how many times we get phone calls, is the ice safe? I'm not gonna tell you it's safe. I'm not gonna tell you it's safe, and, you know, a lot of people, their dogs go out on the ice, they'll fall through. The owner will go out, now we gotta save you and the dog, please call 911. There's 2 rescues. These rescues on the ice,
In grade 5. Where?
these
And
rescues,
ice division.
yep, these rescues are very labor intensive. Very manpower heavy. So we train on this. This year was the first year we've had ice where we were able to train.
All the groups training.
Yeah, so we were lucky in that respect because when we don't have ice, we can't really train. So we made sure we've got all the ice equipment. Let's see. We do our public education. This was an open house that we had at the station. So this was one of the hoses off of the forestry unit. Sparky was out there helping them and then teaching the young folks when and where to call if they have an emergency with 911. This was actually a phone system that they could practice speaking. So, Lieutenant Topo, Rachel, always puts these on. She does a phenomenal job getting out into the schools, teaching them about the EMS service, the fire service. We do get into the high school, although we don't get into the high school as much, but we do have, a high school intern with us. We have actually 2 this year, and they're both going off to college, for the fire service. Again, this is some public education that Rachel was doing. Sorry, those pictures didn't come out very clear, but this was, Halloween on the Green. And this was an event that went on at the library. So we really try to get out, try and hit everybody as far as, some public education. So this was actually a drill that we had in combination with Orleans Fire and, DEP for a spill, at Rock Harbor. This one was a couple years ago. This past fall, we did one in the Cove near the, Orleans Yacht Club. So if there's ever a spill of oil or gasoline, we need to know how to deploy these booms and get our boats in. So you wouldn't think that the fire department would do that, but that's part of our, all hazards that we do. Let's see. Again, this, some of our past structure fires that we've had. This one here was well involved before we even got the call. So unfortunately, it was a total loss, but, it was a total loss before we even got the call. That's why early notification. Some of our training that we do, this is our high school intern, one of our high school interns. This is, Chief Bohannon's son. He is, he's decided he's gonna come to the fire service and not go to the fire service, so we're happy about that.
Choice.
Yeah, we keep telling him he made the right choice.
Let's make for an interesting dinner conversation.
Yeah,
Right? Absolutely. But this is some training that we do with him. And then, I don't have any pictures of our other, intern, but this was a mini golf tournament that we had, with the police department. We did it for the parents group at the East Ham Elementary. We were all up at, Red Barn. And unfortunately, I didn't win the Chiefs Cup. I was not very happy. I think that's probably it. Yep, the pictures, but we do a lot. We try to really engage our community. We come up here from time to time. We're in the schools, but we're also running calls all the time. So I'm gonna open it up for questions, because you guys don't wanna listen to me anymore.
We got the new fire engine. Is that to meet the new buildings, the structure?
So it's not, so for the ladder truck, it's not for, height, because we don't have a lot of high things, it's for the reach. So I need to be able to reach,
Ah,
okay, so I need to reach, and then also with a ladder truck, we're able to flow a lot of water. But we couldn't get a ladder truck until we had the water system, because we needed the water system to be able to flow as much water as we need to.
If you look at any of the motels or anything like that, if there was, you know, in the event of a fire, with all the cars that are parked there, right, in those parking lots, it'd be very difficult for us to be able to get that ladder that close. So that's what the chief's talking about, having that reach, that if we have to get, it's only a 2-story roof or a 3-story roof, we still need to have that reach to get that ladder, that fixed ladder that's on the ladder company itself up there. And the fact, just like what the chief was saying, as far as being able to flow, we can flow over 1,000 gallons a minute if we had to, out of the waterway that is in that ladder. So for a defensive fire, if we showed up, it's way too late, and all we're trying to do is protect the exposures, either the buildings that are on that site or buildings that are next to it. Now we can raise that, elevate that, have a master stream where we're flowing that much water to get a knockdown, so that now we're protecting the exposures at that point.
But we couldn't do that.
Yeah, like the chief was saying earlier, it's simple math, you know,
You don't have
even if we have 1,000 gallons of water, of just the normal size, what we call an attack line, that somebody will take off and just go in to make a fast attack into a structure. That on average is gonna flow about 130 to 140 gallons a minute. You got about 8 minutes, right? And you're done without hydrants. And that's what the chief was alluding to.
So by the time I get our second engine there, or we have what we would consider a line response, so if we have anything that's a reported structure fire, we have a line response from Wellfleet and Orleans. They're coming automatically with our truck, so we can get 3 trucks, 3 engines on scene within 8 minutes.
But a fire, but in today's fires, with all the plastics that you have in your house, all the foam that's in all the cushions, that it's not, when we grew up, it's not cotton batting, it's not natural materials, it's all petroleum-based plastics. Because of that, a fire in your house or in anybody's house, God forbid, will double in size every single minute.
Wow.
Double in size. So we don't have a lot of time. We've got to get on scene with the proper amount of personnel so that we can deploy those hose lines, we can get in and hopefully keep that fire to the room of origin. That's the goal. Like, that's our gold standard. We can keep it to the room of origin, that's a home run. If we can keep it to the area of origin, well, that might be like a double.
It's a grand slam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
I remember that before the hydrants were in over Rock Harbor, on the 4th of July, the reeds caught fire.
Oh, yes.
Oh, boy.
Orleans sent
That's
us down on
trying to
fire.
get the water in there.
We could get the water in there, quick enough.
You could get.
They were already starting to.
right,
Right.
So
It was very difficult.
yeah.
It was a very difficult fire, but it went out,
Luckily,
you know, someone else had another fire.
Recently, I think I read that our 911 calls are now going to
Yeah,
Barnstable.
yeah. So I was just gonna talk about that.
Oh, but
So Currently, right now, as we talk today, if you dial 911, you're gonna get the Eastham Police Department with one dispatcher. Okay, that dispatcher has to answer 911, the business line coming in, anybody calling. They're also dispatching for the police department and they're dispatching for us. And if it's a medical call, they have to do what we call EMD, which is emergency medical dispatch, and that's to give you pre-arrival instructions. That was a great system, and they are great dispatchers there. Hands down, great dispatchers. We're all too busy for one dispatcher. So they did a study, and the study is like, well, if you want to regionalize, you could do that. And we were looking at regionalizing the dispatch from Eastham to Provincetown with a regional dispatch center here in town, which would mean more employees. And then the sheriff's department, who does regional dispatching and regional 911 call taking, said, we'll find room for you guys if you want to come up. So we were originally, back 10 years ago, we were gonna try and go with the Brownsville County Regional Dispatch, but they didn't have room in their room to add dispatchers. So right now, they dispatch for 8 towns, 8 fire departments already on the tape. They do the 911 call taking for those departments, so we entered into conversations with them as to how that would look, and yes, on Monday, when you call 911, it's gonna go to the sheriff's regional dispatch center. They will dispatch for the fire department. If it is a police call, they transfer it down to the police department. Now, I will tell you, it is gonna be seamless. You're not even gonna know that they're answering it up there. They answer it as quickly. They have more people in the room, so they have 9 to 10 dispatchers in that room that can assist with dispatching, EMD, whatever needs to be done.
They're all cross-trained.
So your level of service is actually gone up.
And nothing changes, like the chief said, nothing changes. In
Nothing
fact,
changes.
it is elevated, just what the chief said. Everything from, if you're on a cell phone, they're gonna have the ability to track you if you were moving. If somebody calls and says, I don't know where I am, if they were on a trail, they'll be able to be within feet of where they're calling from with us transitioning over. But nothing changes. The only thing that we would strongly suggest, even if it's to help pick up a family member, even if it's anything, if you don't consider it an emergency, call 911. We don't take offense to that. Nobody will give you a hard time because you're calling, because you need to help somebody get back in bed that fell. Like instead of calling the business line at the station, just call 911. We're more than happy to come out. You know what I mean? And we ask, the only ask we have is tell everybody that you know. Don't feel intimidated to call 911. If it's the smallest thing, we don't care. Pick up the phone and call it.
They have dispatchers, and our dispatchers here in Eastham that we have right now are also EMD certified. But they are really, so, you know, someone calls 911. It's a structure fire. She's dispatching us out. There's one person doing all the radio communications for the fire department. They're also communicating with Barnstable County, the radio room, to get us what we would consider an ops channel, which is a channel that we work on the radio for major events, so it doesn't go onto our fire alarm, so that can be used if for other calls. So she's getting us manpower, she's getting us an ops channel, she's trying to get more information.
Oh, by the
From
way,
the
she's
call.
running, and she's running plates for the
And-
police
And
department.
the police are calling in for a claim,
Oh.
so
And ID checks.
they do,
It's too much.
they do too much work for one person. So that's why we looked at this, it's not because they don't do a good job, they do a phenomenal job.
It's not fair to them.
And they still are gonna be employed and they are gonna be police dispatchers now. So they're not doing, so, you know, we're doing 2,200 calls a year. They're doing, I don't know how many. So if she's trying to dispatch for us for a structure fire that's very, I wanna say labor intensive. And then an emergency call comes in. She's listening to the radio, she's trying to give EMD,
You can't do
we
it.
can't do it, it's just our call volume is not
And
what it used to
and
be.
the only difference you're gonna hear when you call 911, they're gonna say police, fire, medical. That's all they're gonna ask, other than the basic other, questions, your address, what's the nature of the problem, so on and so forth. But they're gonna say police, fire, medical, it's gonna be the first thing they're gonna ask for. And so, as soon as they say, if you say police, I need a police officer, they're gonna kick it right down to the, immediately.
And they'll,
It's gonna be seamless.
it's gonna be seamless, so.
Are they, oh, sorry, go ahead. Chief, how does it work with the National Seashore, in terms of response? Because we all know we're in an area where, we've got the oaks and we've got the pines and we've got a real fire. How does it
For
work?
fire,
Yes,
so we respond.
okay.
So they don't have anybody right now
I
in
see.
their, so they used to have, a firefighter down in Wellfleet with the trucks and that stuff. They don't have anybody right now.
Oh, okay.
He left probably, I wanna say before the beginning of the year. The gentleman that was down there, he decided that I think Cape was not what he wanted. So, we will take care of it. We have, a task force of forestry vehicles that I can call in if I need to, which means I'm getting mutual aid in. And I do not hesitate with that. If we find that, like right now, we're in overburning season. Keep me up at night. Especially right now, I'm watching the weather all the time. I know everybody loves their fire pits. They're supposed to be for cooking fires. If we end up in where we were last fall, I will suspend all open burning.
And she was fully, and the chief was fully supported by the town, the town administration.
It causes a lot of anxiety for me when we start to have
All
all
of
these
us.
dry conditions. It's not, everybody's like, oh, you canceled open burning because of the wind. It's not necessarily the wind. The wind has something to do with it, but the wind, what happens is the wind dries everything out. And then we have no humidity. It makes for a bad situation.
And lack of deforestation, right? Along the national seashore, which we don't have control over that.
Right.
We don't have any control on mandating the federal government to deforest the area.
And we used to help with the cut and burn and they have, they
Right.
started doing that. a
So they
couple years
did,
ago.
so they did, just yesterday, they did a burn up at Fort Hill.
Yeah, a control burn.
Control burn.
Yeah, they do, yeah, they will.
They did do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
they did it.
They did.
That's what the state performed, was at the feds.
That was, that was seashore.
Okay.
So they will do that. I will tell you, there was a lot of concern that, the Cape, we don't want to be California.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about that. California does not get any rain. They have completely different topography than we have. And they get the Santa Ana winds. We don't get that
Every year.
every year. We are surrounded by water, which gives us a little bit of humidity, but it's not gonna roll through.
Even the ground cover is different. I was there in 2003 when San Diego was burning down. They deployed us from Las Vegas to that. Like the chief said, you're talking about hillsides where fires can run up at 30, 40 miles an hour, 50, that's without Santa Ana winds. And then those Santa Ana winds, they come every year, guaranteed. And when those come, unfortunately, a lot of those fires are set. Because there are people out there that know that those Santa Anas are gonna blow every year. And so they know exactly what they're doing. Not that we don't have a dry issue, but the chief was proactive about that. Immediately, as soon as we started getting all these class 3 days, she's like, I'm suspending this, and not everybody agreed with that. She made the move to do that and stand by that, when she was fully supported by the town. Some towns didn't do that.
Caused a lot of anxiety. Because I wanna do what's best for you as a homeowner, as a citizen of Eastham, but for everybody.
About the protecting the firefighters.
Absolutely, right? I mean, those are long, protracted events. Once those begin, if that gets going, you're out there for days.
So I am, so the state does a lot of training with this around forestry and stuff like that. I will tell you at the end of the month, I am going up to Hyannis with our crew. Either the deputy or I are, what they would consider a task force leader for the Lower Cape. If there is a big brush fire, so if the task force gets called, one of us goes with, there's 5 pieces of equipment that will go to wherever, either in the state, on Cape. So we're going, I'm headed up there, the end of the month for a drill. So that we're ready to
We're
go.
ready. You're rest assured, we're ready. And, you know, with internally and with our partnerships with all the other communities, because we're on a peninsula. We're heavily dependent on each other, and we all know that.
So, whoever,
You go, I'll laugh here. So just a comment, we moved here 5 years ago, my husband was a career firefighter in New Hampshire.
Mhm.
You and David have met, and, I'm just, every day I turn around, I notice something very special about Eastham and the collaboration between the police and the fire.
absolutely.
One of our neighbors, fell at the post office a couple weeks ago, and, the ambulance took her to the hospital to be evaluated. And my husband was driving by her house, and there was a female police detective at the house. Well, she went to the house because the lady was worried, and she went to the house to walk her dog.
Wow.
And,
We work very,
and it was just a beautiful thing, that,
That's a
That,
good thing
you know,
about working in a
because
city.
I was an ER nurse, and people would say, I can't stay because my cat's alone, or my dog's
we will
alone, or
make every
whatever.
effort.
Yeah.
The fact that somebody took the time to do that was just, it was just very touching.
Yep, we make every effort. Yep, I think we got a couple.
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Totally different note, but, how do the ambulances that go up to Cape Cod Hospital get paid for? Like, I'm now on Medicare, I have a secondary.
Insurance. So if you have insurance, your insurance company will be billed for your ambulance now.
And do they cover everything, or does it cost?
It all depends. It all depends on the insurance. Now, I will tell you, if you do get a bill and you cannot pay it, all you have to do is put on it, unable to pay. It goes back to the billing company and we take care of it.
The chief made an
No.
effort, she made sure that we do not aggressively bill.
So for people who really don't have anything.
Correct.
I will,
It will get written off.
it will get written off. I will write it off. So that is not, yep, that is not.
Sometimes people don't wanna call, I can't call, I can't
Nope.
put the ambulance, you know what I mean?
So-
No, we absolutely don't want you.
I-
I'm not saying, I'm
No,
not,
I don't want anybody.
Your health is our utmost importance,
okay.
okay? And it should be yours also. Do not ever hesitate to call the ambulance because you feel as if.
Yeah, absolutely not.
That's not what it's designed for. So the billing that is designed for, yes, it can be very expensive.
No, I know.
Stories.
I get it, it can be very expensive. But what it was originally designed for was so that when we need to purchase a new ambulance,
Right.
it didn't have to go to town meeting,
Yeah.
or it didn't have to go to an override, it was so that we had the equipment that was needed to take care of every single one of you.
So in
And do you
principle, it was
feel
set up as
if,
an
like,
enterprise
when
fund.
the family member falls and we need your help to get dad up on the bed?
No,
Do
we
you feel?
only,
home
we
visits?
only, we
Yeah,
only
we bring the
bill.
credit, no, we bring the credit cards.
We only bill, your insurance company will get billed if you go to the
For
hospital.
transport?
Only,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you very
And
much.
there's a couple different fee structures depending on what's going on in mileage, but, it was never, ever designed to put anybody in financial.
I, just wanted to share a personal point of, thanks, because, the segue, the comments that were just made is a perfect segue into my comment that I've been holding in my heart, because I was, the grateful recipient of your services on Memorial Day, and I had a heart attack, and, the Eastham, emergency corps was amazing, just amazing, and it was just, the proof is in the pudding, and this is obviously the case, with what, the chiefs are talking about, and it's just an amazing thing, so I'm just eternally grateful for you and your
Testimony.
We appreciate that.
And we also, the firefighters at the station, the career firefighters are part of their union, the firefighters union. And they feel that, we were seeing a lot of, elderly people that were like, well, I'm not gonna go to the hospital because I can't get home. I can't afford that. I don't have anybody I can call to pick me up. And I can't afford to take a taxi back. Firefighters Union they have a fund right now for someone who is unable to call a neighbor, a friend, a relative. We will get you back home.
Yep.
Okay? We will get you back home.
The Friends of the COA raise money, and through the COA, it's called Your Way Home. I think it's called Your Way Home, and we met with the guys, and,
Yep.
so that,
Yep.
again, that was my comment I was gonna make, that don't worry about.
No.
Don't worry about it.
No.
Donations. When we donate to the Eastham Fire Association.
Okay,
Versus getting the call from Springfield for the state association.
so I'm gonna tell you. So, we have two organizations at the fire department. One is the Eastham Fire Local 2975, that is the union, that is comprises the full-time firefighters. Then there's the Eastham Firemen's Association, which encompasses all of the retired, members of the department, the chief and the deputy, because we're not in the union anymore. So they do their fundraising every other year. So the union will do it one year, the association will do it the next year, then the union.
Yeah.
Those are, and they do it by a letter drive. That is the only way they do their fundraising.
And what is the money used for?
The money is used for training. A lot of it is training to send them to classes, if they want to go to a college class. I don't have enough money in my budget to send them to classes.
That's for the union. What about the other group?
No,
The
that's the
retired people?
That they'll use it,
They'll
they'll
use that.
collaboratively,
Oh, okay.
they'll collaboratively assist members that wanna increase their education, increase their knowledge base, send them to conferences, because they, flights, I mean, you got, everybody knows how expensive that gets.
So, but for the retired members, it's a social organization where they'll come and be involved in a dinner meeting.
Pass down their knowledge
Pass-
to the
yeah.
younger firefighters, right? That stuff's invaluable.
But, you know, there's been a number of times where the association or the union will purchase, equipment for the station. Something that is maybe the next greatest thing that maybe they'll purchase, but a lot of it is training. And then some equipment.
Just wanted to thank you for being able to feel comfortable going in to have my blood pressure taken at the fire.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I know you can patch people up.
Yeah.
We do it all the time. We're right on the highway.
What fashion do you do?
And then, wait, I don't think we didn't take credit cards on that one either. Was that?
What kind of patching do you do? So I don't have to
We'll
go
do like, 'cause a lot of times people will have a surgical procedure done, and they have to get their dressing changed. And so they don't have anybody at home, so they'll come to us and like, will you change it? We're like, absolutely, we'll
Absolutely.
change out your dressing. So, yeah, I mean,
Wow.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, what
But
about
it's-
And you that you need something, the bench would stay on, right? And so they, put a butterfly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you go
We'll
down.
cut rings, like if somebody, if we'll cut rings up, a lot of times they'll fall.
Yeah, 'cause I gotta get back, 'cause I got my intern. So our intern, is coming in from the school, and he is also on the hockey team.
Yes.
We actually have an opportunity here, if you can just wait 2 seconds, we have some.
Really quick. I can do the.
Was there any questions from the people that were on Zoom? I didn't wanna,
No, I think that they would have said something.
okay,
Otherwise, I think we're.
participants or chat, or I just wanted to make sure that.
Right. Okay, are any Zoomers, having any questions today? Okay,
Okay.
okay, fantastic. Let me just, you, Alice?
We have all our stuff at the station. We
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I didn't get, so I didn't.
No, I know that, but we were just.
We got a t-shirt, sweatshirt,
Come up here really quick.
Sunday.
Sunday.
5:30. It should be.
Okay, but I don't know.
It should be.
I know it's televised, but.
It's at the garden.
It's at the
Yeah.
garden.
Yeah, let's just, if we would, just a quick.
And I think you can.
Come on.
You wanna just
Come
zoom in
on.
on-
Come on up with us.
We're just gonna, I'm gonna be there, so
I'm going.
I'm just gonna. Yeah. Oh, wait, oh, here, I'll hold that, it's not me. Maybe one of you, yes, okay, good. Great, thank you.
Squeeze
so much.
in, squeeze in,
All right.
squeeze in.
Far away.
If you can't see the camera, I can't see you.
Okay, on three. 1, 2, and 3.
Go.
No, not there.
1, 2, and 3.
Go.
not there.
Go.
Thank you. You guys are good sports, thank you. I feel myself a lot.
Yep.
And I think I just wanted to give it a quick.
Yeah, you know what, I had it over here.
But I also say, as a home care person, there are some women who I believe, I think locally you have the floor so they can call it and have the good team.
Absolutely. Okay, now.
Okay, thank you. Very, very much.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance to talk about this. This is a lockbox.
Oh, yeah.
So some people have lockboxes, some people don't. These are very good to have. They come to the fire station. These are, we put them on the outside of your home. The association takes care of this, so they do, it's a $60 fee, but this has keys to your house inside of it. The fire department is the only one that has a key. It's a specially designed key. And that is if your house is locked, I don't have to have them break a door or a window. If you're not around and your smoke detectors are going off and someone calls, then you have one of these, we can get in to make sure that there's nothing going on. Very good safeguard.
You know, you guys ready?
I can attest to those lock boxes.
Brilliant.
I was working and my wife fell down
Oh. You keep a key under.
had a tough time getting somebody there. And she couldn't get to the phone or couldn't get anybody in to the door. And it was stuck, so they came right out.
Yeah.
Get one of those installed now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
Thank
Okay,
you.
well, thank you so much.
thank you for having us.
Thank
I
you.
learned a
We'll come
lot.
back again anytime.
Please, thank you.
Anytime.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, how are you?